Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Nigerian spoken word and performance poetry artist and an award-winning author, Dike Chukwumerije.
I remember my father. He used to sit under the ripening guava in the evening when the sun was falling. And he would say to me, "Get into the house immediately. A storm is gathering, rain is coming." And I'll scramble up the guava tree. Not a cloud to see, but it's a clear day, Papa. Leave me to play. A light slap across my head, and I'd hurry to do as he said. But just as I was done crying, the rain would start falling. And I would always wonder, how did you know before the thunder? How did you know before the lightning that rain was coming? When my son asks me, I have a son now. When my son asks me, I'll tell him what my father told me. I know because I am your father. Live a little longer. I remember my father. He used to sit under the ripening guava and see the storms I couldn't see, perched in the topmost branch of that tall tree. The title of the poem I just did is Namdi. In my language, it means my father still lives. My father passed away 2.5 years ago, and all I have now left of him are memories. And he was what used to be called a Pan-Africanist. So, for instance, I have a brother called Shaka. Imagine that. And I have another brother called Kwame. I even have a brother called Che. Yeah. I'm the only one that got a normal name. And we had the life-size paintings of these people in our sitting rooms, and I grew up sort of looking at them. But the fondest memory I have of my father is the songs he used to sing. I was born at the tail end of the 70s. It was a time of great Pan-Africanist feeling in my country. And so we're strongly in support of the anti-apartheid struggle in South Africa. We did different kinds of things in support. One of the things we did was compose songs, not even in English, in our own local tongues. That was how personal we took the struggle. So you can imagine it. I grew up listening to songs about a country I didn't even know. Songs like, "O Chikanwa mo, gini kinebe, gini kinakwa neti nebe, ndi ọcha gburu papa mo, n'obodo Sharpeville, South Africa, ewo, ewo." They wrote this after the Sharpeville massacres. Onye ga-achụpụ ha n'obodo nne mụrụ m. Hell, anwụ m. Africans, remember. Did you know that the streets of Benin were wide and straight when the first Portuguese came walking down them in search of that king, Iwari the Great, whose name would echo, still echoes through time? Did you know that the mysteries of iron were first solved in Jos? That the Limpopo existed before it was found? That Ife predates the Berlin Conference and the throne in Borno is 1,000 years old? Did you know that Amina built a wall in Zaria? That Kano traded with the Western Sudan? That Nsibidi is a written language invented in Cross River, and the bronzes of Igbo still marvelous men? Did you know that the pharaohs of Egypt were most of them black? That Timbuktu was a city of libraries and intellect? That long before Christopher Columbus did it, Abubakar of Mali sailed across the Atlantic? Did you know that great Zimbabwe was a city in history? That Nzinga was a queen who would not be conquered, who would not be convinced of the merits of slavery, that Ethiopia is a kingdom that was never colonized? Did you know that the European came with more than the Bible? That the Zulus were cut down with the Gatling gun? That Chestwayo was exiled and Atahiru was killed? That our spirits were broken before they were done? Did you know that their textbooks were written to keep us dependent? That their classrooms were built to contain our minds? That truth is not foreign, we have the same rights to it. That our versions of reality are just as valid as theirs? Did you know that telling these stories could help to heal us? To find there were bridges in history between us? That we are not people come out of the darkness, that these borders and boundaries were crafted for us? But do I ask you these questions, O young Africans, just to make you complacent with tales from the past? What good would that do us in these broken lands where our future is blighted by corruption and waste? No. I ask you these questions so you understand. We may pay the Chinese to build infrastructure, but the spirit of greatness cannot be imported. It's not something you cargo in then couple together. For no matter how friendly, no friend will give it. No matter how charitable, no nation will tell. There's no market in Dubai you can go to and buy it. No course in the US will teach it as well. It's something that's drawn out of blood and remembering, not something received. It's something that's taken to take back the right to write your own story. Greatness is something we carry within. So look to the West for Twitter and Facebook, but not for the way to your own destinies. This sun will not rise from London or New York to reclaim redemption. Africans, look to yourselves. I hear, yeah. Pan-Africanism is an interesting concept. So is diversity. South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation, and I understand that this is because of her diversity. Diversity is such an interesting concept. I think it's a double-edged sword. It has a lot of potential for greatness, but in my country as well, we have struggled with the challenges of diversity. Man, Nigeria is diverse. You think that a country that has only black people would be united, but man, over 250 languages, I tell you. We have Igbos, we have Hausas, we have Yorubas, we have Kalabari, we have Tiv, not thief, Tiv, T-I-V. You know, we have Ijo, we have Ishekiri, we have Okun, we have Bagi, we have Birom. It's crazy. And so sometimes we struggle with keeping all these ethnic nationalities together. And so the government came up with this policy. It's called the Federal Character Policy, where we try and share everything equally between the ethnic groups. But you should know that things like that don't really work. And so we struggle with unity and with living in peace and with tolerance. And there's such high levels of conflict and suspicion. I'm not a politician, I'm a poet. And so I wrote a poem for my people. Neck deep in this struggle to hold ourselves together as a nation, I wrote a poem for my people. It's titled, The Wall and the Bridge. If a white man turned and called me nigger, my blood would boil in righteous anger, for the evil of discrimination is clearly established when a white man tries to treat me like rubbish. But if Hausas say Igbos are greedy and crude, and Igbos say Hausas are haughty and rude, and Ijo says Ishekiri must die today, and Eza tells Ezilo there is no other way. If Yorubas declare it is our way or nothing, and we use federal character to share everything, so before you can even smile and tell me welcome, you must first ask me where my father is from. If those who were settlers but now indigents say those who are settlers can't become indigents, while the Constitution says we are all citizens, local governments keep issuing certificates of origin. If my brother passed his exams but can't go to uni because he is Tiv and he's not Kanuri, and Unimaid has a quota for its catchment area, so he must go back home or wait one more year. If it's okay to say it's not okay to marry someone just because they are Kalabari and that every tribe should have its own side, are we not then practicing apartheid? If you cannot buy land unless you're a native and cannot find work unless you're a native and cannot feel safe unless you're a native, how can we then say we're not primitive? Yet, you go to London and get their passport, then settle wherever, however you want. You stand there and fight for equality, but come back and start to use ethnicity. I don't get the logic of thinking it's different to be tribalistic and then to be racist. If you're happy to judge him just hearing his name, whatever you call it, my friend, is the same. Where there is no courage to cross this divide, where there is no faith to look deep inside and stop judging accents and surnames and dressing, this fire we're quenching will only keep burning. Which nation can stand dividing its people? How can one build on foundation so brittle if we cannot see ourselves in each other? This journey ends here. We're going no further. For when God made man, he gave him no tribal marks. He did not make Bagi, Okun, or Angas. As sure as a black man is just like a white man, no culture is older than being human. This is the truth. Until we accept it, our nation will stumble on its broken feet. The same things can bind us that drive us apart, for the wall and the bridge are both in the heart. Whenever I talk about the heart, I remember my mother. She's still alive. She's an old woman now. And we're best of friends. We've always been best of friends. My mom and I talk about everything. And I'm eternally grateful to her for the things that she's taught me about life, particularly about love. So let me share some of those things. Don't get me started on love. Do not get me started on love. Because I can trace every contour on the surface of your body, from the tip of your nose to the parting of your lips. And when you sigh, it feels like fingers on the strings of my soul. From the curve of your hips going down to your toes, I know every story behind every scar. I watch every shadow that crosses your heart. I know when you're angry, even when you're smiling. I know when you're hurt, even when you say, it's okay, but it's not. Tonight, I need to bring you close. I need to let you know what you mean to me. If I'm a vessel, you fill me. From a sentence, you complete me. From a potential, you realize me. From a dream, you make me come true. But it's not enough to talk. For words, get your minds out of the gutter. But it's not enough to talk. For words are cheaper than the paper they are printed on. And if love is just a feeling, it's not worth depending on. So I guarantee you this. On that day I'm tired, I'll walk another mile for you. And when life gets rough, I'll take another blow for you. I won't hit you once. I won't hit you ever. And whatever it is, we'll face it together. Now I know we will fight, but I know we'll make up. And I can't promise you we'll get to the top. I don't know the future, and I don't need to know it. For love is a choice, and I don't need to feel it. Because what if you'd never fallen for my lines, left your life to become a part of mine? If I don't see you become more than you were, then what does it mean when I say I care? Just to watch you wither beside me, lose the woman you were meant to be, become a wife, a mother, everything else, anything else but yourself. A lonely heart is a good price to pay to keep your soul. So walk away from embraces that smother, kisses that kill, a love that revolves around how they feel. What about you? What about me? What about purpose and our individuality? What about the things we're going to? What about the things that we cannot share, even if we wanted to? What about destiny and the places we're going to? Some things are more important than chocolates and flowers, and love's a lot more than this bunch of roses. It has thorns, it grows roots, it needs water. And if you don't work it, it won't last forever. It's a rock, it's a stone, it's a twisted path. It's not a ring on your finger. It's much more than that. So it's okay to write some poetry, to strum a guitar and find a melody. But behind it all, there burns a conviction that'll last a lot longer than any attraction. Because, Siyabonga, I see you. The you inside that body. The way you were when you came to me. Those hopes, that dream, that destiny. Love is meaningless if it only chains you to me. I want you to be all you could be, all you could have been if you'd never met me. So we've done politics, we've done love. I think my time is winding up, so let's do death. I wrote this poem for a man called Chinua Achebe. How many people have heard of him? He died a couple of years ago, and I was asked to write a poem in his honor. Chinua Achebe is a literary giant, and I thought, you know what, I need to write a poem that does this man justice. This poem is titled, Nanye, Is It True? In our language, Chinua Achebe was an Igbo, I'm an Igbo as well. Nanye is like a respectful way of addressing an elderly person, like Baba or Father. The poem is titled, Nanye, Is It True? Asim kambia malumife kwa beziokwu. Asi no ogunabo Nanye ukwu. Hell! Onwa da atu egwu. Igirigi. Igirigi ada. Hell! Nanye. Is it true? Is it true that the calabash broke and I'll no longer drink from it? That the sound of the drums do no longer move your lips to sing because the owl was heard in the trees last night. And Odogwanya meh, the terrible masquerade was seen in the market this morning. They said they stopped at your door. Nanye. Is it true? Is it true that your name was called in the night? Somebody said they saw you across the river, on the river, and they called to you, but you did not answer. Nanye. Is it true? Is it true that your footprints were seen on the dusty paths of the farm, but the searchers went and they could not find you? Only the lingering scent under the palm tree and the sound of a man whistling, but fading into the bush. Was it you, Nanye? Is it true? Did the wind that blew last night break the heart of the earth? Did it hide the moon? Did it blow out the stars? Is this the sound of the river weeping? What is this silence? Did it fall? Did the Iroko fall last night? Then let me dance. Maka mberedeke jamadike. You cannot follow a lion with tears. Tell those who are wailing in the night that an elephant has passed this way. I can see his tracks, deep, like the gorges left by a rampaging river. It was he who took our stories and wrote them on the underbelly of the heavens, that the farthest ends of the earth may know the name Okonkwo. Okwejejemba stood up for us in this contest for dignity, answered those who said we were savages without history, took the language of the oppressor, bent it to the service of the oppressed. Tell them to be silent. It is this man that has passed. Stood up for us in this contest for dignity, answered those who spoke with bullets and bombs. Still he stood in their way, wielding nothing but words, the shield of conviction, his faith in ideas. Tell them to be silent. It is this man that has passed. And in his wake, let the sun rise to the sound of a flute, to the steady beat of an unbroken drum, to the chanting of warriors, to the dancing of women. Enyi yo, enyi Allah, that death may know it has swallowed an eagle, Ugonabo Gidi, but it will never swallow his voice. Nanye, it is true. Ngwajabe, Nukumau, Dike Kalion, Odogummadu, Ngwajabe, Jabenudo. Go in peace. Thank you.